What happens after you achieve the goal? What happens after you get the promotion? After you launch the business? After you earn the degree? After you receive the recognition? After the applause fades? Most people spend years thinking about how to achieve success, but very few spend time thinking about what comes next. And yet, I believe that what comes next after success may be even more important than success itself. Hello, and welcome back to the Mentium Podcast, where we explore leadership, personal growth, and alignment so that you can achieve more, not just in results, but in purpose, impact, and fulfillment. I am your host, Madiama, and today I want to have a conversation with you that has been on my heart since the Africa Agenda Summit. And I would like to take a moment here to thank my friend, Mr. George Bamu, founder and executive director of Africa Agenda. As many of you know, I recently had the opportunity to deliver a keynote speech on the theme Transforming Fear into Possibility. The experience was incredible. The audience was engaged. The conversations were meaningful. And to my complete surprise, I was honored with an honorary doctorate degree in educational leadership. I have spent a lot of time reflecting on that experience, not because of the title, not because of the recognition, but because of the question it forced me to ask. Now what? What comes after a win? What comes after a milestone? What comes after a moment of recognition? And the answer that kept coming back to me was this: the next level of leadership is contribution. I think many of us grow up believing that success is the destination, because we tell ourselves, when I get the degree, I will be successful. When I start the business, I will be successful. When I buy the house, I will be successful. When I get promoted, I will be successful. And there is nothing wrong with goals. Goals matter. Dreams matter. Achievements matter. But one of the greatest surprises of adulthood is realizing that every destination eventually becomes a starting point. You arrive, then life asks, now what? I remember when we started our janitorial business back in 2003. Like many entrepreneurs, my wife and I wanted to build something meaningful. We worked hard, we sacrificed, we learned, and then recognition came. First, in 2004, Franchisee of the Year, then Diamond Club Award, then Outstanding Customer Service Award. Those moments felt wonderful, but none of them ended the journey. They simply opened the door to a new responsibility. Before we proceed, I want to ask you something. If this podcast has impacted you in any way, if these conversations about leadership, growth, alignment, and purpose have helped you reflect, grow, and move forward in your own life, I want to invite you to help us grow this message. So share the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel, invite others to join the conversation, because I genuinely believe these are conversations that people need right now. Conversations about purpose, conversations about growth, conversations about leadership, conversations about becoming. Now, back to the episode. Achievement is largely about what we accomplish. Contribution is about what we leave behind. Achievement asks, what can I get? Contribution asks, what can I give? Achievement asks, how far can I go? But contribution asks, how many people can I bring with me? Achievement focuses on personal growth. Contribution focuses on collective growth. Both are important, but leadership matures when contribution becomes greater than achievement. When we are young, we naturally focus on achievement. We want to learn, we want to prove ourselves, we want to create opportunities, we want to build confidence. And don't get me wrong, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, I even believe it is necessary. But at some point, leadership begins asking a different question. Not what have you accomplished, but who has benefited from your accomplishments? This is a very different question, because now success is measured not only by what you achieve, but by the impact your achievement creates in the lives of others. Think about the leaders who inspire us most. When we think about Nelson Mandela, we do not immediately think about his personal achievements. We think about what he gave. When we think about people like Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, we think about service, contribution, and legacy. When we think about great teachers, mentors, and coaches, we do not remember them because of what they accumulated. We remember them because of what they poured into others. The leaders who leave the greatest impact are often those who make the transition from achievement to contribution. This realization brought me back to something we teach at Mentium. In fact, the 6 pillars of the Mentium alignment framework is purpose and connectedness. And I believe this is where a lot of people get stuck. They develop identity, they clarify their values, they strengthen their beliefs, they develop skills, they improve their behavior, but then they stop. They never ask, how does all of this serve something larger than me? Because purpose is not about finding yourself. Purpose is about giving yourself. Purpose is where your gifts meet the needs of others. Purpose is where achievement becomes contribution. There is an image that keeps coming to my mind, a fruit tree. Think about it. A tree spends years growing, years developing roots, years becoming stronger, years producing fruit, and yet the tree never eats its own fruit. Its fruit exists for others. Its shades exist for others. Its beauty is for others. Its contribution is also for others. Leadership is very much the same. The growth is important. The development is important. But eventually, the fruit is not just for you. As I reflect on the keynote, the standing ovation, and the honorary doctorate, I found myself asking the question that now I want to ask you. Not what are you trying to achieve, but what are you preparing to contribute? What knowledge are you gathering that could help someone else? What experience are you gaining that could shorten someone else's journey? What wisdom have you earned that deserves to be shared? What lessons have you learned that could become someone else's breakthrough? Because leadership is not measured by how much we know. It is measured by how much of what we know becomes useful to others. There is a saying, people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. You see, one day all of us will leave this earth. The titles will stay behind. The awards will stay behind. The positions will stay behind. The money will stay behind. But what remains? What remains is impact, service, lives we touch, people we help, doors we opened, seeds we planted. This is why I increasingly believe that contribution is the highest expression of success, not because achievement is unimportant, but because contribution gives achievement meaning. My friends, perhaps the question is no longer, what do I want to achieve? Perhaps the better question is, what am I called to contribute? Because achievement may improve your life, but contribution improves the lives of others. Achievement may bring recognition, but contribution creates a legacy. Achievement may change your circumstances, but contribution changes communities. And in the end, I believe that is what leadership is all about. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. As always, I hope this conversation has inspired you to reflect not only on what you are building, but on what you are giving. Until next time, keep leading, keep growing, but also keep contributing. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. I am Madiama, and this is Mentium. Peace.